As an athlete, sometimes I get hurt, but sometimes those can lead to worse things. That is what we're reacting to today. Today we're reacting to the worst deaths in sports, part 2. This is by Simple Pate. Let's get right into the video.
Adam Johnson, ice hockey. On October 28, 2023, Adam Johnson skated onto the ice at Sheffield Arena in England. He was 29 years old, an American-born forward playing for the Nottingham Panthers in the Elite Ice Hockey League. Before coming to England, Johnson had played 13 games in the NHL with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Panthers were facing the Sheffield Steelers in a Challenge Cup quarterfinal. Early in the first period, a collision occurred near the boards in the Panthers' defensive zone. Sheffield player Matt Petgrave was skating at speed when his skate
Hold on, we got a black guy on the ice?
boards in the Panthers' defensive
Hold
zone.
on, we
Sheffield
got a brother on the ice? I didn't know we had black people playing hockey. That's my
player
fault.
Matt Petgrave was skating at speed when his skate blade made contact with Johnson's neck. The cut was immediate and deep. It severed the carotid artery on the left side of his throat. Johnson skated forward a few steps before dropping to the ice. Players nearby could see blood on the ice. Officials stopped the game immediately. Medical personnel rushed out and applied pressure to the wound. The arena went silent. Fans did not yet understand what was happening. His teammates stood motionless. Johnson was removed from the ice and transported by ambulance to a nearby hospital. Emergency teams worked throughout the journey, but the wound to his carotid artery had caused catastrophic blood loss. Adam Johnson was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. His death triggered immediate changes across professional ice hockey. Multiple leagues, including the EIHL, announced mandatory neck guard requirements within days. Matt Petgrave was later charged with manslaughter, with the case proceeding through the UK.
He shouldn't. No. Time out. I understand that he did technically kill somebody. He shouldn't be charged though. That was on accident. Like, 2, that is one of my worst fears. I ain't gonna lie. I've been ice skating before. I fall down. I can't skate. Okay, leave me alone. But I can't skate. I fall down. One of my worst fears is having somebody come over my hand. But yeah.
Support system. Fabio Casartelli, cycling. On July 18th,
How do you know about cycling? Come on. That's lost of aura. I ain't gonna lie.
1995, Fabio Casartelli descended the Col de Porte d'Aspet in the French Pyrenees
I'll take
during
back my
stage
statement.
15 of the Tour de France. He was 24 years old and a member of the Motorola cycling team. 3 years earlier, Casartelli had won the road race gold medal at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. He was considered one of the brightest young talents in professional cycling. The descent from the Col de Porte d'Aspet is steep and technical.
I take back my statement from earlier. That
in professional cycling. The
this is, you can lose your life over this. My fault.
descent from the Col de Porte d'Aspet is steep and technical. Riders reach speeds well over 50 miles per hour on the narrow mountain road. On a sharp left-hand curve near the bottom, several riders crashed. Casartelli was among them. He lost control and slid across the tarmac. His head struck one of the concrete bollards lining the edge of the road with tremendous force. At the time, helmets were optional in professional cycling. Casartelli was not wearing one. The impact caused massive head trauma. Other riders
Wear your helmets while riding your bikes. This could be you. Hopefully it's not, but this could be you. Yeah.
stopped. Several teammates knelt beside him on the road. A helicopter was called. Casartelli was airlifted from the scene. Medical teams worked to stabilize him during transport, but his injuries were unsurvivable. Fabio Casartelli was pronounced dead at a hospital in Tarbes approximately 2 hours after the crash. The Tour de France continued the following day. The entire peloton rode together in a ceremonial procession. No one sprinted. Casartelli's Motorola teammates crossed the finish line first. Lance Armstrong, also a Motorola rider, raised both hands to the sky at the finish in tribute. Gernot Reinstadler skied.
That's a W-Mins. W-Mins.
On January 19, 1991, Gernot Reinstadler stood at the start gate of the Lauberhorn downhill in Wengen, Switzerland. He was 20 years old and an Austrian ski racer making his first appearance in a World Cup downhill event. The Lauberhorn is one of the most famous and demanding courses in alpine skiing. It stretches nearly 3 miles and passes through multiple high-speed sections. Shortly after the start, Reinstadler made contact with a gate during a fast section of the course. He lost his line and fell. His body slid rapidly across the snow at high speed and struck the safety netting at the edge of the course. One of his skis did not release from its binding during the fall. His leg became entangled in the netting, while the rest of his body was still moving forward at tremendous speed. The torque placed on his lower body was catastrophic. The force tore through soft tissue in his groin and pelvis and severed major blood vessels. He suffered massive internal hemorrhaging. Race officials and medical personnel reached him quickly. Reinstadler was evacuated by helicopter to a hospital in Bern. Surgeons operated immediately to control the internal bleeding, but the damage was too extensive. Gernot Reinstadler died on the operating table later that evening. The crash happened during a live broadcast, meaning audiences around the world witnessed the incident as it unfolded. It quickly became one of the most disturbing moments ever shown on live sports television. His death led directly to new safety regulations in downhill skiing, including...
It's crazy how we can only learn how to prevent stuff after it's already happened. Like, just think about it. If these rules were set in place before, these people could have survived. But it sucks how they have to be the example for how we learn.
Improved binding release standards and stronger requirements for padding and netting construction along course boundaries. 8 Bells, horse racing. On May 3, 2008, 8 Bells broke from the starting gate at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky for the 134th Kentucky Derby. She was a 3-year-old gray filly and one of only 2 fillies to run in the race that year. She weighed roughly 1,000 pounds and had shown exceptional speed throughout her career. Her connections believed she was capable of competing with the top colts in the country. Big Brown, the heavily favored colt, set the pace. 8 Bells ran strongly throughout and separated from most of the field in the home stretch. Big Brown won. 8 Bells crossed the finish line in second place, more than 4 lengths back. The result was considered a remarkable performance for a filly in the most famous race in American thoroughbred racing. Then, approximately 100 yards past the finish line, 8 Bells collapsed. Her front legs buckled beneath her. She went down at full speed. Jockey Gabriel Saez was thrown clear. 8 Bells lay on the track as the crowd watched in silence. Veterinarians reached her within seconds. Both of her front ankles had fractured catastrophically. The bones had shattered. In situations like this, horses cannot be saved. A horse cannot survive without the ability to bear weight on all 4 legs. The veterinary team made the decision immediately. 8 Bells was euthanized on the track, in front of the crowd and a national television audience. The incident reignited a national debate about the welfare of racehorses and the physical demands placed on young thoroughbreds competing at the elite level. Sam Vasquez, MMA. On September 22, 2007, Sam Vasquez walked into the cage at a Strikeforce event in Houston, Texas. He was 35 years old and a professional mixed martial arts fighter. Vasquez was matched against Vince Lombardi in a 3-round bout. The contest was competitive. Vasquez was matched against Vince Lombardi in a 3-round bout.
What is his stance? What is his stance? What is it? Boy posing like Nico Robin.
Test was competitive. In the 3rd round, Vasquez was knocked down by a punch from Lombardi. He went to the canvas and the referee stopped the fight. Vasquez got back to his feet. He appeared unsteady.
Wait, hold on. In MMA, I thought once they on the floor, you can still punch, right? Ain't that how MMA work? Like every MMA video, like once they hit the canvas, you can still punch.
Power. The post-fight medical check did not immediately detect a serious problem. Later that evening, Vasquez collapsed. He was taken by ambulance to a Houston hospital. Doctors discovered a subdural hematoma, a pooling of blood between the brain and the skull caused by blunt impact. Surgeons operated to relieve the pressure. Vasquez was placed in a critical care unit. His condition fluctuated over the following weeks. He underwent multiple additional surgeries. His brain injuries were extensive. He remained in a coma for much of this period. His family maintained a vigil at the hospital. There was no improvement. Sam Vasquez died on November 30th, 2007, 70 days after the fight in Houston. He became the first fighter to die from injuries sustained in a Strikeforce competition. His death intensified discussion about medical protocols in mixed martial arts, including the use of neurological evaluations for fighters following knockouts. Julissa Gomez, gymnastics. In the spring of 1988, Julissa Gomez traveled to Tokyo, Japan, to compete at the World Sport Fair Gymnastics competition.
Japan on.
She was 15 years old and a promising member of the United States Junior Gymnastics program. Gomez was known for her vault, one of the most technically demanding elements in her routine.
I used to have a vault in my old elementary school. That was crazy. We used to do flips
During a vault attempt, Gomez's foot slipped on the springboard as she launched. She lost her approach completely. Instead of rising up and over the vault horse, her body went into it head first. The top of her head struck the apparatus directly. The impact drove her cervical spine downward with extreme force. Gomez did not move after landing. Medical staff reached her immediately. Her neck had been broken at the top of the spinal column. The injury left her completely paralyzed. She was transported to a hospital in Tokyo and later flown back to the United States for long-term care. For more than 3 years, Julissa Gomez remained in a vegetative state. She was unable to breathe independently and required around-the-clock medical care. Her family stayed by her side. The gymnastics world was aware of her situation, but she had largely disappeared from public view. August 8, 1991, Julissa Gomez died at the age of 18 from aspiration pneumonia, a respiratory complication caused by her prolonged immobility and dependence on medical support. She had never regained consciousness following the accident in Tokyo 3 years earlier.
It's crazy, bro.
Fran
Such a young
Crippen,
age.
swimming. On October 23, 2010, Fran Crippen entered the water at the start of a 10-kilometer open water race at the FINA Open Water World Cup in Fujairah, United Arab Emirates. He was 26 years old and one of the top open water swimmers in the United States. Crippen was considered a strong medal contender for the 2012 London Games. The race course ran through the coastal waters of the Arabian Gulf. The air temperature exceeded 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The water temperature was estimated between 84 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. These conditions were well above recommended limits for competitive open water swimming. Race officials proceeded regardless. As the race progressed,
Again, bro, when we have stuff in place, can we please follow it so this stuff doesn't happen? Like, it's a sad story.
multiple swimmers reported distress. Several withdrew from the water. Crippen did not finish the race. Officials initially assumed he had simply dropped out. After the race concluded and all other competitors had exited the water, it became clear that Crippen was missing. His body was found on the floor of the course, in approximately 16 feet of water. He had been underwater for some time. Resuscitation attempts at the scene failed. The medical examiner determined that Crippen died from cardiac arrhythmia brought on by hyperthermia. His core body temperature had reached a fatal level in the extreme conditions. Following his death, FINA implemented new water temperature regulations for all open water competition events. David Sharp, mountaineering. In May 2006, David Sharp departed from Advanced Base Camp on the north side of Mount Everest. He was 34 years old and a British climber attempting to summit Everest solo and with minimal supplemental oxygen. It was one of several attempts he had made on the mountain over preceding years. Sharp reached the summit in the early hours of May 15th. The descent was where everything went wrong. At approximately 28,000 feet, Sharp became incapacitated on the mountain. He took shelter inside a small rocky cave on the northeast ridge, known among climbers as the Green Boots Cave, named for a previous fatality whose body had rested there for years. He was still alive when...
Okay, but like, oh, never mind. Oh, what I do? What happened? Hold on, give me a second. Oh, I accidentally muted the video.
40 climbers passed Sharp over the course of several hours, early morning hours, an estimated years. He was still alive when other climbers began passing him in the early morning hours. An estimated 40 climbers passed Sharp over the course of several hours as they made their individual summit bids. Some stopped briefly. Most continued upward. At that altitude, the oxygen level is roughly 1/3 of that at sea level. The ability to assist another person is severely limited. Sharp could not move. He was suffering from severe frostbite and extreme cold. He had no support team, no radio contact, and no supplemental oxygen remaining. A helicopter attempted a high-altitude recovery when his situation was reported, but the altitude made a successful extraction impossible. David Sharp died on the mountain. His death sparked an intense international debate about the ethical responsibility that climbers have toward others in distress on high-altitude peaks. Ray Chapman, baseball. On August 16, 1920, Ray Chapman stepped into the batter's box at the Polo Grounds in New York City. He was 29 years old and the starting shortstop for the Cleveland Indians. The Indians were in the middle of a pennant race against the New York Yankees.
Nobody's beating the Yankees. Nobody's beating the Yankees from back in the day. Nobody's beating the Yankees.
Yankees and Chicago White Sox. Chapman was one of Cleveland's best players and a popular figure throughout the city. Yankees pitcher Carl Mays released a fastball toward home plate. Mays threw in a submarine style, delivering the ball from below the hip with an underarm motion. The pitch came in high and inside. Chapman did not move. The ball struck him in the left temple with a loud crack that carried through the stadium. Many observers initially thought the sound was the ball hitting his bat. Chapman dropped straight to the ground. He was unconscious before he hit...
Yo, that's bad. That's actually bad. How do you think that the bat head make the same sound as the bat? I'm gonna just say it.
The dirt. Players from both
Hey, bro,
teams
this is why we
rushed
wear
onto the
helmets
field.
now.
Medical personnel were called from the stands. Chapman was carried off the field and taken by ambulance to St. Lawrence Hospital. Surgeons operated that evening to relieve pressure on his brain. A fragment of his skull had been driven inward from the impact. The operation lasted more than an hour, but the damage was irreparable. Ray Chapman died at 4:40 a.m. on August 17, 1920, less than 12 hours after being struck. He remains the only player in Major League Baseball history to die from injuries sustained during a game. Jeff Phillips, skateboarding. By the late 1980s, Jeff Phillips was one of the most recognized names in professional skateboarding. He was a dominant
better than
vert
Tony
skater,
Hawk.
known for his technical ability and his signature aerial maneuver, a variation of the Madonna. He won multiple professional titles and appeared regularly on the covers of skateboarding magazines. At his peak, he was among the best in the world. The early 1990s brought a significant shift in skateboarding culture. Vert skating declined sharply as street skating took over. Contest prize money dried up. Sponsorships disappeared. Phillips lost his primary income. He continued skating, maintaining a private halfpipe at his home in Plano, Texas. But the professional career he had built through the late 1980s was effectively over. In the years that followed, Phillips struggled with the transition. Friends and fellow skaters described him as increasingly withdrawn. The collapse of vert skateboarding had removed the structure that had defined his life since his teenage years. On December 27, 1993,
Oh, that's
Jeff
another crazy thing. Like, oh. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. Hey.
Phillips
Yeah,
was
forget my
found
thought.
dead at his home in Plano,
Oh, wow.
Texas. He had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was 26 years old. His death had a profound effect on the skateboarding community. Many of his contemporaries described it as the moment they fully understood the personal cost that the industry's collapse had taken on those at the center of it.
Yeah, that's
Phillips was
sad,
inducted
man.
into the Skateboarding Hall of Fame posthumously.
Stop taking meeting notes and let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings, not your notes. It captures everything.
Tamayo Perry, surfing. On June 2nd, 2024, Tamayo Perry was in the water near Goat Island, off the northeastern coast of Oahu, Hawaii. He was 49 years old and one of the most respected figures in Hawaiian
I feel
surfing.
like I've seen him
Perry
before.
had spent decades as both a professional big wave surfer and a full-time ocean safety lifeguard on the North Shore. He had surfed some of the most dangerous breaks in the world. Perry was attacked by a shark. The animal struck multiple times. Witnesses on shore and in nearby watercraft observed the attack and immediately called for emergency assistance. First responders reached the scene quickly. Perry had sustained severe wounds to multiple areas of his body from the repeated bites. He was pulled from the water and emergency medical care was administered at the scene. A helicopter transported him to a trauma center on Oahu. Despite the rapid response, the injuries were too extensive. Tamayo Perry was pronounced dead at the hospital. He was widely mourned across Hawaii and the global surfing community. As a lifeguard, he had saved numerous lives over the course of his career. He was known for his willingness to enter dangerous water conditions to assist others. He was also recognized outside of surfing for an appearance in the 2008 film Forgetting Sarah Marshall. His death was the result of a
Bro, I've
shark
seen him
encounter in the
before,
very
but I've never
waters
seen that
he had
movie.
spent his entire adult life working to protect others from. Lee Richardson, Speedway. On September 13, 2012, Lee Richardson arrived at the track in Gorzów Wielkopolski, Poland, for a league speedway meeting. He was 32 years old and a British speedway rider who had raced at the top level for more than a decade. Richardson had represented Great Britain at the Speedway World Cup and had competed in the Speedway Grand Prix series. He was an experienced and respected competitor. Speedway bikes have no brakes. Riders navigate oval dirt tracks at speeds exceeding 60 miles per
What do you
hour,
mean no
controlling their
brakes?
speed entirely through throttle and by sliding the rear wheel through corners. It is one of the most physically demanding and dangerous forms of motorcycle sport. During the meeting, Richardson was involved in a crash on the track. He fell from his bike and was struck by another rider's machine. The impact caused severe head trauma. Richardson was wearing a helmet, but the force of the collision was extreme. Medical personnel attended to him immediately at the track. Richardson was transported to a hospital in Gorzów Wielkopolski. The injuries to his head were critical. Doctors worked through the evening, but there was no improvement. Lee Richardson died in hospital on September 13, 2012, the same day as the crash. His death prompted widespread discussion within the speedway community about track safety measures, protective equipment standards, and air fence installation requirements at venues across Europe. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe.
Yo, that's gonna be the video, man. Sad video, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, wear your helmets. Make sure you're wearing all your safety gear. Be careful what you're doing. Like, subscribe, comment. That's gonna be the video.